Shopify dropshipping or dropshipping in general, you should always be using this, okay? You should be using a credit card for your Shopify or WooCommerce drop shipping business. And why? Before I explain, I need you to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and click that bell notification. So Shopify dropshipping is when an entrepreneur buys a product from one place and then sells it on their own store. And a lot of people use AliExpress. They'll buy a product from AliExpress and then resell it on their store to make a profit. However, many times, though Shopify gurus don't tell you about this, is that the agent and or AliExpress seller that they purchased a product from doesn't actually fulfill the product. And so what does this mean? So this means any purchases you made for your customers that you needed to get fulfilled are not getting fulfilled. And so let's just say you sent $160,000 worth of purchases to this agent to fulfill all your orders for Christmas, and like 10 days go by, no tracking number updates. 20 days go by, no tracking number updates. What the heck is going on, right? You start sweating, you start getting anxious, you start understanding that all that money you made is not going to be yours because the orders are not being fulfilled. And so the conclusion is the agent decide to cash and dash with your money. Like you sent them $160,000, they haven't purchased anything, so it's like pure profit for the agent just to run away. They're also all the way in another country and you're all the way in, let's just say in the United States. It's like there's really nothing you can do. Thankfully and luckily, you made all your AliExpress purchases through your credit card, and thus by doing it through your credit card, you can then initiate a chargeback and or dispute to get your funds back. And in this scenario, you're 100% going to get your funds back. So what you need to do is first let your customers know that there's some issues with fulfillment happening and there will be delays. Some individuals will ask for a refund, but in my e-commerce experience, most people are actually okay with waiting. You just need to let them know. As long as you let them know, they're okay with waiting because they already kind of purchased, and at this point, it's kind of too late to go back. Just let them know, that way they don't initiate a dispute against you, because that's just bad for you. So let them know. If anybody wants a refund, then just refund them. And so this is important to do, so you don't want any of your customers to get upset, because then they'll file a chargeback against you, and that means for every transaction you made, it will forcefully get returned back to the customer, and you will get dinged a fee, and this fee can be anywhere between $5 to $100 depending on the merchant account issuer. Some merchant account issuers only charge $5 to $20, some of them $50 to $100. It really depends. On average, it's $15. Still, if you're doing low ticket items and a bunch of people ask for refunds, that could mean you lose, twice or three times the amount of profit because you sold an item for $5, but you're getting charged back $15 and you lose the sale. So it's double whammy. Make sure your customers and clients know, that way you reduce the amount of chargebacks. And so step 2, the next thing you want to do is go through all the transactions that your store made that haven't been fulfilled and write them all down, and then look for all the transactions you made on AliExpress or your dropshipping platform where the agent hasn't shipped out the product yet. And then, write all that information down, the dates down. And then what you will need to do is file a dispute for every single one of those transactions as a not as received product through your credit card issuer. So if you made the purchases through Chase, call Chase customer support line for that credit card, contact the dispute specialist or the chargeback specialist, and then let them know the payee name, the amount of the transaction, and the date the product was promised to be delivered. And in situations like these, when you are filing a chargeback, you most likely will not need to provide any evidence. It's the agent that you purchased from will need to provide evidence such as a tracking number confirmed that it got delivered to the customer's address that purchased from your store, or a signature by your customer that they did indeed get the package. Now, if the signature is not there or there is no tracking confirming, then you're most likely going to win the case and you're most likely going to get your money back. So after you file the dispute by giving out that information, within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to get your money back. This is regardless if you won the case or not. So what you should do is basically just leave this money aside and not even touch it, because if you do touch it and you happen to lose the case, then your credit card issuer is just going to take that money back from you and give it back to the agent or the store that you purchased from. Now, in this scenario, most likely you're going to win, so I wouldn't worry about that, but I would always just, keep some money aside, at least for 40 days, and then call the credit card's chargeback specialist or dispute specialist and ask, has the dispute finally been concluded? If yes, then, you could technically use that money that you got returned back to you for your business or whatnot. And if not, just keep holding it until the settlement has been done. Usually within 40 days, the chargeback gets settled. So yeah, and another thing is you can dispute any transaction 30 days from the date that it was promised to get delivered to you. So let's say you purchased a product on January 2nd and it's supposed to be delivered by January 30th. You technically have 30 days from January 30th to make the dispute. And so that would be let's just say the end of February, that you can dispute the transaction. So you get a lot of time. It's from the promised due date. So again, if you purchased a product and it's supposed to be delivered like 8 months later, then it's like 30 days after that 8 months. And I just want to note, some credit cards have a longer dispute time. It could be 60 days, it could be 90 days after the agreed date of arrival or the date of the service being finished, or it could be like 180 days. It really depends on the credit issuer. I would recommend doing it 30 days after the promised due date. That way it's recent and fresh and you can tackle it down as soon as possible. And so once you get the money back, you can either look for another agent to ship out products, or while the dispute process is happening, you can technically purchase it from a reputable agent that other people can vouch for, or actually go to the manufacturer itself and just purchase it directly from there. And so at this point, your customers' orders are getting fulfilled, your money's either already returned to you or you're waiting to finalize the dispute. And also, to prevent this from happening ever again, I really recommend only using AliExpress dropshipping just to test the waters. Once you know like the product will sell and you see long-term benefits and potential, then what you should do next is look for the actual manufacturer. And a lot of times you can just find a really good manufacturer from Alibaba.com instead of using AliExpress.com, and then import it directly to the country that you ship products to and use a domestic fulfillment center there. That way customers receive the products on time. That way you know the product quality and everything's been audited, and that way products can also be easily returned back to you. And the reason why I state this is because on AliExpress or any of these like multi-vendor online stores, anyone can list anything on that site. Technically speaking, AliExpress is just like an eBay platform for Chinese citizens to sell to the foreign markets. So it's like someone who's American cannot sign up through AliExpress and sell products through it. It's only Chinese citizens are allowed to sell products through it, but it's any Chinese citizen. So you're doing business with anybody. And that's why I don't like it, because you're not actually making a relationship with the manufacturer. There's a middleman, and the middleman will just purchase from different manufacturers that sell the similar products. So like one of these like Egyptian god pharaoh structures, you know, one of them might make it with such good quality, but the next one the quality is not good. They don't use the proper molding or the proper plastics or the proper ceramics. And so you can tell. And a lot of agents cheap out and they purchase from the cheapest manufacturer, and all of a sudden the product quality degrades. You're like, what? I ordered this one and it was really good the first time you ordered and tested from an AliExpress agent, but then the second time the product quality degraded by 60 or 50%. It's because they switched manufacturers. This happens a lot more than you think. So I really recommend only use AliExpress dropshipping as a way to test the waters, and always make sure to do your purchases with your credit card. That way you can dispute any incidents such as a agent running away with your money, because this happens more than you think it does. But for some reason, a lot of gurus are not talking about it. Luckily, I'm talking about it. And it's also just another perk that credit cards are so awesome, and you can protect yourself and get your funds. So if you learned something new today, please let me know in the comments down below. This is the end of today's episode. I hope everyone's having a good one. And as always, stay strong.